Management for the Red-Eyed Vireo, presented by Luke Carlson and Dustin Morgan. The purpose of our presentation is to define what it looks like to manage a forest stand for red-eyed vireos. This management plan will be used to establish optimal sustained vireo habitat.
To begin, what is a red-eyed vireo? A red-eyed vireo is a common migratory songbird that can be found in forests all across the eastern United States, as well as the majority of South America in the winter months. This white and olive green bird is sometimes called the preacher for its seemingly unending songs amongst the summertime eastern forest. The red-eyed vireo breeds in the summer throughout the eastern forest of the United States. They can be found in many different forest types, but prefer deciduous and mixed pine and hardwood stands. They prefer a reasonably dense understory as well. In the southeast, they often can be found in hardwood trees along creeks and streams. This species is not always seen because it tends to stay in the tops of broadleaf trees, but can almost always be heard by its distinct ongoing songs. It prefers a similar tropical forest canopy throughout the winter months in South America, but for the purpose of this presentation, we're going to focus on the management of this species in the southeastern United States.
There are two important factors to be considered for the survival of the red-eyed vireo. The first thing that is essential for all living things is food. The vireo, like many birds, feeds on many species of insects as well as other fruits and berries. They prey largely on caterpillars during the summer months. Having a forest with plenty of food for the red-eyed vireo is vital for its survival. Studies have shown that food supply will in fact dictate the vireo's migration pattern. Scientists have seen that larger vireos with plenty of stored fat can fly straight across the Gulf of Mexico to South America for the winter. The vireos with less stored fat tend to fly along the coast to their winter homes. The second major factor that will dictate a red-eyed vireo's existence is proper nesting habitat. The bird typically makes its nest in the midstory around 15 feet up, but will go as high as 60 feet. The vireo will make a cup-shaped nest in the fork of a branch that allows it to see predators from all angles of the nest. This nest is constructed of pieces of bark, weeds, grass, pine needles, spider webs, and other plant material. It also needs shade from branches above the nest to protect the chicks from too much direct sunlight.
The female cowbird is known as a brood parasite. This means that a cowbird will lay its eggs in the nest of another bird species. It relies on the host bird to incubate and hatch its chicks, oftentimes at the cost of the host bird's own chicks. These cowbirds will often lay their eggs in the red-eyed vireo's nest and cause significant death amongst the vireo chick populations. This single cowbird egg will prevent any of the vireo eggs from hatching. Deforestation and forest fragmentation are also known to be a threat to this species, but not near as significant as the female cowbird has been.
So, if we were to manage a forest stand for this species, we now have the tools to help the red-eyed vireo thrive. Fortunately, this is one of the most common bird species in the eastern United States, so its presence will not affect any harvesting or other management practices. To begin, if there are any existing pine stands on the property, they need to be cut down. Although these vireos can exist in pine plantations, it is not optimal. We must start by planting a mix of broad-leafed, deciduous trees that will survive well in a southeastern climate. These trees must also have good survival rates on the particular soil that is present. Another note that must be taken is that these planted hardwoods should have no serious pests or diseases in the area that will cause mortality. Once the stand is established, these trees should be grown to closed canopy as soon as possible. There is no need for intense management or disturbances besides harvesting. The red-eyed vireo prefers uneven age stands with a relatively thick understory, so fire is not necessary. As the trees reach maturity, thinnings will become necessary to open up the canopy and allow younger trees to grow into the gaps and create a midstory. These midstory trees will be optimal nesting trees for the red-eyed vireo. In order to maintain a sustainable red-eyed vireo habitat, we will prescribe uneven age selection thinnings that are spaced out in order to maintain an uneven age stand that is ideal for this species' survival.
Maintaining a healthy forest is the most important aspect of managing for the red-eyed vireo. Having healthy green trees will provide optimal habitat for hundreds of other species, including insects and caterpillars. Having large numbers of insects and other food items is essential for attracting these songbirds. The red-eyed vireo's largest threat is the female cowbird. Due to this brood parasite's damage on the vireo population, we have instituted the use of nesting boxes. These boxes will provide an opportunity for us to monitor the red-eyed vireo's nest and the threat of the cowbird in the area. If the cowbird invade these boxes, then supplemental mealworms can be provided to ensure the young vireo's survival. Some potential consequences for managing for the red-eyed vireo is that the landowner cannot also have the desired goal to grow pine trees or grow trees extremely fast. This forest stand will not necessarily produce easy access due to the lack of burning. This is also not the most efficient way to grow trees for money, but that's not the number one objective for this landowner. This landscape will produce rich biodiversity and many different wildlife habitats. Overall, the aesthetic should be pleasing as well to the landowner.
The red-eyed vireo is an important species to southern forests that must be taken care of. With proper management practices in place, we can ensure a healthy vireo population on this particular forest stand. We must maintain a vigorous, uneven age hardwood stand that will allow for the red-eyed vireo to thrive. As long as this silvicultural plan is put into action, this piece of property should be an excellent place to manage for red-eyed vireos.